Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I can't even explain to you how much I've learned from you over the past day and a half. So thank you for giving me the opportunity just to share some of my ideas, some of lessons learned through my work at EdAssist and just growing up. And I'm looking forward to kind of hearing your conversations, too. So for me, because we know each other so well, as Stephen Kramer kind of got right to the bottom line questions with some of the clients, I'd like to share with you something about me. I grew up living a lie. Yep. So basically, I grew up thinking that there were two worlds. There was this first world. That's me. This world is the world in which my mother lived in. She was a teacher for 40 years. She still is a teacher, even though she retires. I was with her at dinner the other day, and she literally raised her hand to be called on at dinner. So she, to me, embodied what education was. Education was the classroom. It was my mother in front of the room. It was students learning, taking notes, being surrounded by books. But again, education equaled the classroom to me. Now, here's a picture of my father's office. He's not the magician. That would have been a lot more interesting. But this is my father's office. So this was the bring your daughter to work day, 70s style. And while the magician was very interesting to me, and by the way, I really did think there was a magician at his work every day, which we all know is true. There's magic that happens in the office every day. I was actually more intrigued by what was going on behind these orange cubicles. I saw women on typewriters typing, doing. I saw men in the offices, on phones, meeting with people. They were doing. So to me, the office meant doing. The office was business. The classroom was education. And those two worlds to me seemed very distinct for a long time. I mean, to the point even, I'm a curious person, I like to learn, that I thought, well, for me to continue to learn, I must go pursue a PhD. So I did. I didn't finish because I woke up one day, I swear it was one day, and I was like, oh, I like to learn, but I just want to do. So again, living that lie, I thought I had to go to business. So I did. Now, this was my puzzle. I get into the office, and there are opportunities to learn everywhere. There's internal training, all these courses for free. All right? I didn't have to take my student loans out to actually pursue them. There's tuition assistance, free money for me to go back to school. And there's these performance reviews. I was so excited by those, thinking that, this is going to be the time to really speak to my manager, learn about, what am I going to do next, my learning roadmap. But then I got busy doing. I was just busy. Anyone know the feeling? So I think that where my puzzle was, wow, this is me. I'm feeling guilty. I'm not taking advantage of all that's available to me to learn. I'm feeling productive, but I don't know what I should do. But then I got to EdAssist, and I realized I wasn't alone. So the 100+ companies we work with, we see that there's only 5% of eligible employees actually use tuition assistance, 5%. We, through a recent research study, learned that managers, employees, and schools are all pretty confused by who owns professional development. So that was confusing for a lot of people. And then we also learned that the average employee spends 1.5 hours on their professional development planning compared to 22 hours planning their vacation. I don't do that. So the idea is that it wasn't alone, but I guess my question for you, maybe by a raise of hands, show of hands, is what's your experience? So if you could raise your hand for me, if you agree with this statement, I spend a sufficient amount of time each year planning for my own professional development. Please raise your hand. Whoa, not one. Okay. I love this honest group. Me neither. Number 2, I feel I take full advantage of the learning opportunities available to me at work. Okay. Maybe I'll go 3 for 3 on this one. I love to do performance reviews. I can't wait. They're so wonderful. They're fabulous to learn from. Awesome. 3 for 3. Okay, I think maybe I'll get a better show of hands. How many feel like this after you watch this clip?
Under strengths, you've just put accounts.
Yeah.
That's your job, though. That's just. No, Keith. I was sort of looking for your skills within your job. So, is there anything else you could have put there? No. Okay. Under weaknesses, you've put eczema. Keith. Right, you've left this section completely blank, Keith. You haven't done the Q&A.
I thought that you filled that in.
No. This is aimed at you. Look, to what extent do you believe that you have the skills and knowledge to perform your job effectively? And then you just tick one of the boxes. Not at all. To some extent. Very much so. Don't know. What would you tick?
Don't know.
Okay. Question 2. Do you feel you have received adequate training to use your computer effectively?
What are the options?
Same as they're always the same. Always the same. Not at all. To some extent. Very much so. Don't know.
Don't know.
Don't know again. Okay.
All right, I'm not going to make you raise your hand, but maybe some of you felt like this before. So the bottom line is that I know we're all busy. And I know we can be challenged to find the time to engage with our learning opportunities or to help our employees engage as well. But what we learned yesterday, at least I learned through many of the sessions, I mean, Ryan said that, what did he say, that culture eats strategy for breakfast, yet engagement is what makes our culture stronger. So we put time to what we think is valuable. I think engagement is definitely valuable, and engagement can come through learning and development. In fact, we learned yesterday from Ryan and a few other sessions that millennials, if we don't engage them, we don't provide them professional development opportunities, they're going to leave. We also know that the average baby boomer in Mark Ward's session thinks that they're 9 years younger than they are chronologically. They want to stay at work, but they want to be engaged. So they don't necessarily want to advance professionally, but they do want to learn and stay active and social. So to me, I think that we can actually learn from one another, and we can even deal with the knowledge gap that is going to happen when these baby boomers leave by actually thinking about this. We can find new ways to develop at work if we see the office as a classroom. Let me give you an example. So let's say a professor of yours, or your niece or nephew or child, comes in to the classroom and says, "Welcome to Economics 101. I'm going to assign you 10 papers. I'm not going to talk to you between now and the end of the year, but I am going to circle back with you at the end of the year and give you your grade and tell you if you've advanced to Economics 201. Would you accept that? But more importantly, would you expect yourself to learn and engage with that material? No. So we all know that feedback should be ongoing, but how the heck do we find the time? So using this idea of the classroom and the office being the classroom, by a show of hands, how many of you have one-on-ones with either your boss or your people you manage? Wow, a lot more hands. A lot more than. So what about this? What if you had on your standing agenda 3 questions? What did I learn? What do I want to understand better? And whom can I learn from this week? So, all right, so just this week, or if you have it bi-weekly over the past 2 weeks, open up a Word document, document it, don't have to talk about it, go on to talk about which clients renewing, how's that project going. But then maybe around the 3rd month, either you, or again, if someone reports to you, have that person look for patterns. What did you learn throughout those weeks? More importantly, or just as importantly, I should say, what did you kind of seem to want to learn? If every single time I say, you know what, I had to talk to someone in public and I just got nervous. I wish I could understand how to kind of speak to that client a little bit better. Then maybe from there we'll evolve the idea of I could actually go to a Toastmasters class for a presentation or speak to my learning and development colleague to see how I can help my employee engage. But this third question of whom can I learn from? We have generations within the classroom. I mean, think about it. You know, we have 5th graders read to 1st graders in school. That way, the 5th grader and the 1st graders both improve their learning skills. Why not connect our millennials to our baby boomers and everyone in between? And so by asking the question, you know, John can really present. Why not go talk to John and say, how did you even get there? Because we may find that John actually was a horrible presenter, super nervous about it. So the idea of using our knowledge transfer plan by actually just connecting to one another, and that is professional development, and that is professional engagement. Another example, how many people were in high school sports? Kids, high school sports. We all know that after the game, you sit and watch the video of the game. Right? You look at what was done well, what wasn't, so that you're prepared for the next game. But I know that I go from project to project to project, and I don't debrief. Yet I saw everyone raise how many had the smartphones yesterday in the session. We all use Outlook. We all use BlackBerries. What about just adding one more meeting to the project plan, schedule it even before the project starts, and ask the questions, what did I learn? What could I do better? Whom could I learn from? But then maybe we assign someone to actually take notes, and then that person becomes the delegate to the next series of projects, so we information share as well. Again, I think in the classroom, we're always doing group projects. We're engaging with one another. We're talking about feedback. It's so hard to do at work, but then maybe these mechanisms that we already have in place is the tools to allow us to actually engage. And engagement equals culture. Engagement equals learning and actual development. So I guess just to wrap up, I think the choice is ours. I really do. I think that we can be we can see education and we can see doing as 2 separate worlds. And we can see that the learning gap gets maybe larger, the knowledge gap gets larger, or we can see ourselves as managers and educators, as individual contributors and students. So we could use our standing meetings, our colleagues, our Outlook calendars to really drive individual, meaningful conversations, and that's where the development can be. And I think for me, you know, I'm starting my new family, and I really do not want to live in 2 worlds. And I guess more importantly, I've talked to many of you, I want to, if I'm going to leave my children, at a Bright Horizons Center, of course, but if I'm going to leave my children, I want to show them that I'm leaving for something that I'm interested in. I'm going to work to be engaged. I'm going to work to learn. And I want to model for them that learning doesn't only happen in one place, that it can happen anywhere. It can happen at work. It should happen at work. Because that, to me, is going to be lifelong learning. And that's what I want to model for them, and that's what I want for them, too. So thank you. I'm looking forward to hearing what you want and your opinions, but I appreciate the time. Thank you.